What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Trading Wars. Thanks for joining me today. Today, guys, we had a beautiful short that we caught in the morning. I'm going to be breaking it all down for you step by step. I want to talk about shorting, why it's important, and what the tools you need to have in order to succeed. All right. We're also going to look at SPY and talk about what's coming next. We have some major announcements this week, FOMC, and we just got to be ready to rock and roll for whatever the market gives us in order to make the most money possible. So if you're ready, my friends, let's step into the war zone. First and foremost, let's do some shout outs and we'll get right into it. So our brother David Philosoph, welcome to the Trading Wars Army, brother. CDP Trading Wars Army, My Time, Briggs Trading Wars Army, Jan, Bill, Glenn, Dan, me, Jan, Gus, Dex, Tyrone, Howie, Arvin, Silver, David, J Villa, Frank, Alfred, Corey, Andy, Greg Steele, Trading Wars Army, Blaze, VJ Nandy, what's going on? Q Element, Trading Wars Army. All right, good to see you guys. Let's step into it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is hit the replay today. Guys, as you know, we caught a big short this morning, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what we did. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is drop the previous day's high, and we're going to drop the previous day's low. Okay, so here's our high, here's our low right here. All right, so you can see we had this tight range coming into today. This was an inside bar on the daily chart. And let's go right on to the 3-minute chart, and I will show you the first trade we took. So first 3-minute candle, guys, you could see that we gapped up above Monday's high as well as Friday's high. So, if we think about it like this, there's two perspectives on this trade. The first thing is the bulls. So anybody that bought the dip on Monday, when we gap up like this, they're going to feel extremely happy, right? They're going to be up money, etc. Anybody that shorted is not going to be that happy, but they're still not, extremely in the negative here. You can see the gap is not that huge compared to Friday. But something that we talked about yesterday that was very important, guys, was we were sitting on 618 on the daily chart. So if I go from low to high right here, and I'll go ahead and just put it to the basic. So we're sitting on the 618, and like I said, with the 618, it doesn't like sometimes we can poke through it and then we can reverse, and that's exactly what happened today. So let's go ahead now, and the stage is set. So the first thing that I want to do is whenever I see this gap and this increase in volatility, I'm looking for the opening range breakup. Okay, so let's go ahead into the live commentary and I'll walk you through. So it took us a while to enter this trade. We had a lot of patience. The short did not come through until 9:45 today is when we went short. But let me walk you guys through what I'm thinking in the morning, okay? And I want to walk you through this step by step. So the first thing, good morning, friends. Big gap up. I'm leaning towards an orb. Let's see at the open. So the reason I see let's see is I want to see the candle. If the candle is way too massive, there's no point on playing it, especially with options, because you're gonna overpay for the premiums because the move is going to be too big. Okay, so if this is a massive red candle or massive green candle, then it doesn't really make sense to take an orb because you're also going to be looking for a huge move in order to just get some smaller gains. So that's not what we want to do. I want to see a nice candle like this. I love to see candles that have wicks on both sides because that shows me someone was shorting up here and somebody was buying down there. So I'm trying to use the price action on the chart to actually let me understand what's happening. So are there bulls and bears in this candle? Because if there is and one side loses, if one side loses, that's where I can make my money. Okay, and so 2 minutes to open. Who's ready? I'm going to try the orb on the 3-minute chart. Keep the size small as premiums will be high. Let's go. So I said waiting for entry still at 9:33. Okay, so the long trigger and the short trigger, we'll get back to that later, but we didn't end up taking the triggers today. Some people did, but I got such a big home run off of this 3-minute that I didn't do that at all. But here we go. So let's go ahead now. So the first candle that comes in after is an inside bar. So all of this is telling me that, okay, we're undecided on what we want to do. We've gone sideways for 3 minutes straight, and the market doesn't know if it wants to break out or if it wants to break down. So let's go ahead and mark the high and low range, and let's put this in red. All right. So I'm still patiently waiting here, not taking a trade until either this line breaks or this line breaks. Okay. So we waited for a while. And right here, I got a clue. Okay. So right here, there was a clue. Okay. Um, that showed us that this could be a potential to the downside. And what the clue was the Fibonacci. So if I take our fib from our high to our low right there, you could see we rejected on the 618. And if I add the 786, it was a perfect rejection. So right here, guys, when this came in, I suspected that we are going to go to the downside. So I got my orders ready to short once we broke this low, still waiting patiently. So let's continue the price action now. So you can see after that 786 rejection, we drop, and then there is our entry, guys. So this right here, I saw the algo and I just waited for my play, got in right here. Once we broke that low, smashed right down. If we go to the 5-minute chart, there was actually a very, very nice double inside bar pattern. So on the 3-minute and on the 5-minute chart, there were great patterns, right? Look how beautiful this double inside bar is. The double inside bar is a rare pattern, and it means that we've been consolidating, we're going sideways, people are getting trapped, we're ready to make a move. Especially when that happens at the open, because there's a lot of volume in those candles. That's very important. So right here, the 945 candle, we had a lot of time to place our order and be ready for the short. And you can see right here, we went short at 945 right there. And then we got target 1, target 2, and we just smashed it. So let me walk you through that. So the first thing is we immediately broke through and came right to the previous day's high. And then when we came down here, we had our 2 triggers. Okay. So let me go ahead and draw the triggers so you guys have those. So we had the long trigger and the short trigger. So the long trigger was 388.09 and the short was 385.57. So let's go ahead and draw those in. 388.09. Okay, and 385.57. 385.57 right there. Okay, so once we started this short on the way down, I went ahead and I canceled my trigger. So you'll see in the commentary, I said I'm not taking long trigger, guys, riding shorts. So normally what I would do is I would cover my short and take this long trigger right here. But if you guys look at the size of this candle, I knew that because this candle was so massive here, that this trigger is not going to hold. So I didn't end up going long at all. I just wanted to hold these shorts that I had up here because I saw that there was huge potential. And then from there, guys, we just flushed. It was a pretty nasty flush. You guys see that? Whenever you have a flush like that, guys, it's just literally the entry 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 20 minutes. And we've completely taken out the previous day's low as well. And then you can see right here, this is where the rookies are chasing, right? The rookies are chasing at the low, right? So the rookies are chasing at the low. And once we pop back up, they get frustrated and then it sells off. Okay. So that's a typical pattern in the stock market. But since we're able to catch these shorts up here, there's no need for me to reload down here or even try the long. So just held these shorts, guys. I covered the most of my position near over here. And then I just decided to hold some runners into the close. So the puts went for about 150%. Can't get any better than that. In terms of futures, let's go ahead and add the future indicator here. And then right here. So we'll go ahead and add the futures indicator. So we can count the points. So the short was right here around 39.05. Down here was 38.72, 38.73-ish. So let's fast forward to the end right there. So yeah, so right around 70, 65, depending on where you want to scale out. So that's roughly like 50 points. All right. So really, really nice, guys. 50 points on one contract is $2,500. Really, really good. So really proud of this trade. We stuck to our guns. The opening range breakout is nothing new. We've been trading that for a very long time. And I really hope that I tried to explain that what I saw, because what I saw was really important for me taking this trade, because at any time today, I could have canceled the orb because we didn't break it right away. But I had faith that this orb could work to the downside, especially with that Fibonacci. So hit me with the 10 if that makes sense. Does that make sense there, guys? Really, really nice right there. Okay. All right. All right. So let's go ahead here and we'll talk through the fibs on the chart as well. So like I said, the first fib on the day was actually this small one. This one up here on the 786. If you guys hit that trade, literally making thousands and thousands of dollars on the day. That was the best trade. I didn't get on the 786. I ended up waiting for this low to break like I told you. But from here, let's go ahead and look at any other opportunities. You can see that everything was very shallow. This was trying to be a trend day, right? You could see that we didn't really have any deep pullbacks. But if you started taking them from the new anchors, so this is what we call the sequence leg in the book, this anchor to, so this high to this low, you could see that we had the 786 and 618 rejection. So sometimes when the move is really, really big, you have to move your anchors in the sequence. So that's what we call sequencing, okay? So that was the continuation to the downside. But honestly, if you caught that winner right in the morning right there, there's no need to pretty much do anything else because you have the best play of the day. Why would you want to put on more risk when you did the hardest part? The hardest part is taking the initial trade and trying to get the direction right, okay? And then from there, guys, we also had some Nirvana patterns. So this one was a nice little winner. Let's go to the 3 minute. It was a little bit more clear. And you can see we had this nice holy grail over here taking us back down. This Nirvana, a little bit of a scalp. So the indicator patterns did pretty well. But I like this holy grail here. And remember, I told you guys the power of the holy grail. And this also lined up with a fib, okay? So if I take the fib and the sequence from this high to low, this is right on a 50% retracement. So go ahead right here. So there's your 50. So when you have a 50% retracement, guys, and a holy grail, that doesn't get much better than that. So that was really, really clean. All right. Really, really nice. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead now. We'll go and look at the daily. And I want to talk about Apple. Okay. So Apple was another nice day trade. I want to talk about Apple. So let's go ahead here and let's talk about SPY. Okay. So we have a Nirvana pattern right here. The last Nirvana pattern we had was in the 12th of October. Okay. So first and foremost, seeing Nirvanas so close together means the market is back and forth. You don't usually see them so close. The market has been really undecided with what it wants to do with all of this negative news, inflation, all this stuff that's happening, but the market still rallied. And that's why I tell you guys, don't ever get caught up in the news, trade the chart. Like this morning, we saw the opening range breakout. We shorted. We didn't care about anything else. We shorted. It could be news. It could be whatever. It could be Flo, Joe, and Mo. That's all irrelevant. That's all hindsight. Trade the patterns in front of you. So the last time we had the Nirvana, we broke to the upside and we went long and we made money on this Nirvana long. So now we're going to be looking again for this Nirvana. I'm going to post the swing trades right after this chat. What we're going to do for this Nirvana, looking for the same type of play again. So again, this Nirvana is very critical because it's also sitting on the 618 Fibonacci, and we also have FOMC tomorrow. So tomorrow is going to be a really, really huge day, guys. Really, really huge day in the market, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Take the gains we had today and definitely appreciate them. All right. So hit me with a 5. Does that make sense? So essentially what I'm saying here is if we look at the price action, the last Nirvana was a nice winner. We're going to try the same thing again. Okay, and see if we can hit that another time for another play. Hopefully, another winner. All right. So just keep trading the patterns. You don't need to confuse yourself with anything else. The patterns make money as long as you have good risk management. Okay. So from here, I want to talk about Apple. Okay. So I get this question a lot with the triggers. So let's go ahead here and I'll show you the pick that I posted last night for free was Apple. Okay. So Apple was one of my plays. So 154.01 was the long and 152.15 was the short. So people ask me, all right, so what do you do if you do the long and it doesn't work? All right. So obviously first thing is you need to have a stop loss, right? Because if these need to work and if they don't work, you never bag hold. You take a small loss and you move on to the next trade. All right. And if you look in the Discord, under trade plans, we have stop losses as well. Okay, so we put stop losses and different things. If you guys need help with setting up your stop loss and all that, it's all in here. So let's go back. So we had our long at 154.01, and then our short was 152.15. Okay, So the question is, if the long doesn't work, then what do we do next? Okay, so you always have your short trigger as well. Okay, your short trigger is there also. So if you want, you can cancel the short trigger once the first one fails. It's up to you. But a lot of the times I like to leave it open because if this fails, there's a chance we can blow through the short and the short will make you the money, right? So if we were to just hit the replay here, so the first long trigger, you can see it's a loser. Okay, so you can take a loss on that. But if you leave your short trigger open, we come back, we fill that, and that one squeezes down and makes you good gains. All right. So I just wanted to mention that. And what does this create? On the daily chart, it creates an outside bar. So then you basically have the Nirvana pattern. All right. Hit me with a 2 if that makes sense. Yeah, so if same thing what we said today, if the triggers gap up or down, the triggers are price points that need to be touched, right? So like here, for example, with Apple, if we open above here, I'm not taking the trade until it touches it. So when it touches it over here, that's when we enter the trade. That's what we call retest. Okay, so the levels, the lines need to be touched, unless if you do an opening range breakout, but that's a totally different strategy. All right, let's take a peek at futures right now. So you can see we opened right, where did we open? Right here with a tiny gap up. We ended up filling this gap with an inside bar, and now we are kind of moving higher. But you know, look at futures last night, right? Futures was trending all last night, and then in the morning we got our opening range breakout right there, and we shorted and it went down. Okay, so a lot of people ask about, hey, Rich, this is happening overnight, this and that and that. I love to just stick to the regular trading hours because if you look at this chart, guys, you're not going to say, hey, there's going to be a huge crash like this. But if I look at SPY and I go to the 5-minute, I can say, okay, there's a gap, there's some traps around the 618. I find it a lot clearer in terms of price action. You guys agree? Hit me with a 1 if that makes sense, or 2 if you think you want to incorporate the futures. And there's no right or wrong answer. I just like to keep things as simple as possible. All right. Yeah, guys, so that's pretty much it for today's video. We made all of our money at the open, and I love when that happens because if you catch it at the open, like when we shorted this morning, you can get a big runner and leave it on for the rest of the day, and trading becomes pretty easy. You don't overtrade. You don't do anything crazy. Okay, you just relax, one trade, make your money. So I love those type of days. Some days are obviously harder than that. Let's go ahead and let's look at some scans for tomorrow. So we have our blue raindrops. Oh, and I got kicked out. So let me log right back in right there, guys. Don't want me to show you the plays. We know. I'm trying to log back in right now. All right, guys. All right, sorry about that. So blue raindrops. Let's see what we have on the list. We have nothing here that I'm interested in. Obviously, the plays today are going to be Nirvanas. So if we go to Nirvanas here, we have a lot. We have McDonald's, Lowe's, MCO, Moody's, Apple. We have SPY, obviously, Progressive. So many plays tomorrow, guys. So be on your toes and be ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and post a lot of these on Twitter. Visa, Microsoft, these are all big names. Tomorrow is a very big day for the stock market. Extremely big. AMD. Look at this. Look what AMD has been doing. Like, that's crazy. It's just been trapping the hell out of people. And eventually AMD is going to break out. Probably tomorrow. Probably tomorrow that's going to break out, guys. Break out. All right, guys. Thank you for your time. I'm going to post some pics on Twitter right after this. As always, check me out at tradingwars.com if you like what you learned right there. The Orb strategy is actually covered in this book, the SP 500 Options Mastery. Orb is not covered in the Fib book. It's covered in here. So if you guys want to learn more about how I do the Orb, you can see 3-minute, 5-minute, 15-minute Orb. This is your go-to book for SPY. I also talk about futures and shares and options. This is my newest book. So if you're interested, guys, check it out, and also check out this free video when you can, or you can sign up right here on the main page. Okay. Hope to see you guys tomorrow in the room, and let's get ready for war tomorrow, guys. Let's get ready to make as much money as possible, but we also have to be safe. And if things don't go our way, we'll get out and we'll get back in on Thursday because we are riding a good bit of gains from today. So there's no need to do anything too crazy, but also we need to be willing to take the opportunities. And you know how FOMC is with the Fibonacci's. There's usually a lot of Fibonacci plays because the algorithms are in the market. So I think tomorrow we're going to get a lot of Fib plays. So be on your toes and be ready to draw the legs. And we'll be drawing them live in the Discord as we always do. Thank you so much for your time. Please comment, like, and subscribe. If you leave a comment, guys, you have the chance to win the giveaways that we do every single week. So I appreciate a comment. And otherwise than that, I want to thank you for your time again. And let's get ready to rock and roll tomorrow. Take care. Have a great night.